So the practice pages today have a lot of helpful hints. Let's look at what we're comparing. 2/3 compared to 5/6. They don't have the same denominators. They don't have the same numerators. And if you can think about your benchmarks, these are both over the half, and they're both quite close to a whole. So we're going to solve by following the steps below to create equivalent fractions. So this is like a helpful hint. It says create common denominators. So if you look, we can take 3 times something and get 6. 3 is a factor of 6. I know that 3 times 2 will equal 6. So if I multiply 2/3 by 2/2, I will create the equivalent fraction of 4/6. And then this is my second helpful hint. It says compare the new fraction to 5/6. So I'm going to take this new fraction and write it right here. We have 4/6 compared to 5/6. So we know 4 pieces is less than 5 pieces. Let's try another one. 3/4 compared to 8/12. Okay, think for just a minute. The denominators are not the same, the numerators are not the same, and these are both over a half as well. And they're both not really close to a whole, both kind of in the middle between half and a whole. So it's hard to tell for sure. Let's go ahead and double check by creating a common. So if you notice, denominators are 4 and 12. I know that 4 times 3 equals 12. If I multiply 3/4 by 3/3, I will get the equivalent fraction of 9/12. So now, instead of thinking about 3/4, I'm going to think about 9/12 and how that compares to 8/12. And wow, those are so close. You can see 9/12 is just 1 piece more than 8/12. I'm glad we didn't just guess. We created an equivalent fraction so that we could be sure with our answer. All right, go ahead and finish this side of the page and then start watching the video again to see how to do number 9. On this side of the page, we're going to be still comparing 2 fractions. We're still using the same strategy, but there aren't the helpful hints that we had before. So the directions say create common denominators to compare 4/7 and 9/14. So look at our denominators and we can see that 7 is a factor of 14. I know that 7 times 2 is 14. So I want to create an equivalent fraction for 4/7. I want to change the name of the amount to 14ths. So I want the common denominator to be a 14. So I have to think about 7 times what equals 14. We already said 7 times 2. So I can multiply 4/7 times 2/2 and I get a new fraction of 8/14. I'm comparing 8/14 to 9/14. And I know that 8 pieces is less than 9 pieces. Okay, let's take a look at number 10. Those are again very close to each other, 2/3 and 4/6. I'm looking at my denominators and I know that 3 times 2 equals 6. So it would be great to create an equivalent fraction by taking 2/3 and timesing it by 2/2 so that I get a 6 as my denominator. So 2 times 2 is 4 and we have 4/6. So we're comparing 4/6 to the original 4/6. So those are actually equal. Let's go ahead and do one more. 3/4 and 10/12. Think of your multiplication facts. think about 4 times something equaling 12. 4 times 3 equals 12. So if I multiply by 3/3, I should get that denominator of 12. So 3 times 3 is 9. So 9/12 is an equivalent fraction for 3/4. So we'll go ahead and put 9/12 down here. And we're comparing that to 10/12. And again, those are so close. By creating an equivalent fraction, though, we can see for sure which one is bigger. We know 9 pieces is less than 10 pieces. So 9/12 is less than 10/12. So that's our new strategy for comparing fractions that are really close to each other. Go ahead and finish out the rest of the page and check your answers with the answer key.